Look! Look, the dynamic duo!
Hey guys, and welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Welcome to the new Batcave in Avengers Tower, everybody.
Hey Kevin, listen, three hot topics that we need to discuss briefly that I wanted to get your opinions on. First of all, I wanted to talk about Alex Ross, and I wanted to talk about his latest book, which you can see here. And I know you know the book, and I know that the work that you're very familiar with the work that he's done. And I really wanted to take a moment to kind of dedicate a show to Alex Ross and to promote him and to get his books to sell as much as possible. And the reason is because Alex Ross has become the standard bearer to the things that matter to me and to us as fans. His depiction of the characters, of the superhero characters, is so precise, unique. There's so much about it that I just feel we should talk about it. What do you think?
Fire away. you know I'm a Ross fan, so fire away.
So I went into a comic book store the other day, and I didn't even know the book existed, but I picked up his Marvel poster book. And for those of you who don't know, this is what it looks like. He basically created a mural of the key Marvel characters. And there are plenty of YouTube videos where he explains the process, where he explains why he chose some of the characters that he chose. But he essentially built this mural. But the brilliance of it is that he built the mural by painting each character individually and then putting them together as a collage. And there's so much, Kevin, that I love about that work. And when you look at, for example, the Mr. Fantastic Four, which you guys can see right here, here's what matters to me. Here's why I love it so much. And Alex Ross has said as much. He respects and appreciates the original creations and the original designs as the masterpieces that they are. And he takes those original creations and he brings them to life in a way that legitimizes them and makes us realize just how brilliant they are, because he transferred them from a cartoonish comic art to a photorealistic sort of approach. And what I love about it is that, frankly, it's better. If you look at this Captain America and you look at this Captain America, in my opinion, that the original design is way better than what we've seen in the movies. When you look at Reed Richards, when you look at any of these characters. And so I love that about Alex Ross. I not only love his artwork as a work of art, but the fact that he depicts those heroes as they were intended to be. And the fact that it's so much, it proves the point that it's so much more beautiful than what they've come up with. I just absolutely am floored with.
Believe me, I agree with you completely. Ever since Alex Ross became part of the comic world, he's been a part of my world. I love the man's artwork and approach for the exact same reasons that you just said. And by the way, well said. Because of the simple fact that he brings a level of realism to them that a lot of people that are dealing with the characters in movies and in television, they're not doing.
Yes.
Or if they've done it, it hasn't been done to the utmost that it could be or should be done. One thing that I think plays into what Alex does is that he's a fan of the material, and you can tell.
Yes.
And it's not just the Marvel characters, it's DC.
You're right.
He's also done it for a number of independents. I'm, as you know, and a number of our viewers know, I'm a big Green Hornet fan. And for several years, he had done covers and artwork for the Green Hornet material that's out there. If memory serves, he had also done it for the Lone Ranger, which is another tie-in to the Hornet. One of the things that I find fascinating is he had also done his photorealistic style for material relating to both the Beatles and the Monkees, for all intents and purposes. The man is a genius.
Yes.
You know, God gave him the talent to do what he's doing, and he's using it to a fantastic level. That I mean, I know it sounds like I'm gushing, but the man's work deserves to be gushed over. He's done not only depictions of the characters, but he's done recreations of several scenes and/or covers from the past that are just phenomenal. One of his greatest, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, it just is a classic depiction of Batman and Robin together in basically a spotlight. Batman is behind Robin, and basically they're both kind of looking off into the distance, or at least looking at what we're supposed to believe are the police. And the way it's depicted, it's a recreation of one of the early covers of Batsy and Robin together, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just, I've always wanted that one as a poster. One of the others that I'll mention, and everybody that was a fan remembered it from the first Suicide Squad movie, is there is a depiction of Harley Quinn and the Joker together in costume, where she's dressed as the Jester and what have you, and he's in the Joker's tux or suit or what have you, and they recreated that in the movie. But
Yeah.
that is the only time I have seen it done, and done properly.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can say is thank you, Mr. Ross.
1,000%. And again, brilliantly said, because you couldn't be more right. First of all, yes, I'm gushing, you're gushing. He deserves to be gushed over. He is that good. Not only is he talented, like he's talented as an artist, he brings people to life. Like the Beatles piece that he did, that's a brilliant representation of the Beatles. So forget superhero stuff. He's a great painter. He really truly is. But in addition to being a great painter, using that skill to legitimize and bring our love to life, the only other person that I can think of that's done that, and that's near and dear to my heart, is Randy Bowen with Bowen Designs, who made all these figures for me. And he did that. He did what Alex Ross did, but he did it in sculpture forms. And again, it's a reminder of how special the original designs were. Kevin, there are two areas of contention for me. You've got the movie industry. You have the comic book industry now too, by the way. The movie and the superhero industry, as well as the fans. Both the superhero industry, comics and movies, there's a sense of shame. There's a sense of embarrassment. There's a sense of apology of this genre. It's like, oh, we can't present, Captain America with that suit. It looks too silly. There's a sense of, okay, if we're going to present it to the general public, we have to dress him up. It's like that kid that you're embarrassed of, and you're like, okay, you got to take a bath and put clothes on him so he could be presentable. There's that attitude coming from the industry, both comics, because the comic book costumes are changing, the character, the genre, the presentation of it, all of it is changing to be more legitimate and to be more presentable. And all they're doing is diminishing the magic and the gold that is. So the comic books have hurt because of it, because the genre, the presentation is not what it used to be. And kids are flocking to anime, which is still pure entertainment rather than some of the stuff that's happening in superheroes. And while the movies have been wildly successful, there's no doubt about that, and they're going to continue to be successful, the closer you stick to the source material, always and truer, it's always better. And so when you compare Captain America's suit, I love the Russo brothers. I love Winter Soldier. I love Civil War. Love them to death. But there's always a sense that I'm not quite getting my superhero. I'm not quite, the whole I got to remove the mask to show you who I am nonsense. It's not quite there. And part of the reason why it's not quite there, and forgive me for going on, is because the fans also carry that sense of shame. We are also embarrassed by it, and we don't think it's presentable to the public, to the quote unquote general public. And so we sometimes demand or expect the industry to jimmy it up, to fix it up so that it could be presentable to the general public. We're failing our love and our characters as well. So when Alex Ross comes in and he says, no, take it easy. This is what it is. This is what it looks like. I just bow down and I just love it and I appreciate it wholeheartedly.
One of the reasons why Mr. Ross's work is so spectacular, and folks, yes, we are gushing, but I have to add this. The reason why his work is what it is, and it's so big with comic fans and people that follow any of this stuff, is that his work, in a manner of speaking, at least to me, is very reminiscent of what we saw in silent movies.
Mm.
The reason, and what I mean by that is, Alex could do an entire comic if he wanted, with no thought bubbles and no word balloons. He wouldn't have to. His work is depictable in the silent era sense. That's what I mean. All you have to do is look at it and turn the page.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful, powerful thing to do for your reader and for anybody that's following your work, because you don't need 100 pages to tell a story. And with no disrespect to the way the comics are done at all, even in the past when they had 60 pages, 50 pages, whatever it was, based on the way that Alex Ross presents his work and himself, it's just not necessary. And that is the genius of what he's about.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more. He's not only a great painter, he's a tremendous storyteller. To such an extent, you're right, he doesn't need word bubbles. So guys, listen, we highly recommend, even if you're a new generation fan, even if you're not, the old folks like us that used to read comics in the 80s and all that stuff, check out this book. Check out these books. Marvelocity, for example, is another book that he's done. I think it's called Marvelocity. I'll depict it here. But check out his work and try to understand that those designs are still timeless. Those designs are still avant-garde. They're still ahead of our time. And we don't need to apologize for them. And if you like the conversation, don't forget to like and subscribe. We need your help and support, and we'll see you next time.
Until then.